Hello and welcome to NFL Experts, another edition of Schedule Rundown.
Alright, today we're going over the Packers schedule. Today we're joined by Pat Gavigan. He'll be on our debate shows when we start putting them on in a couple of weeks. He's a pretty big Packers fan, so we want to get his take on the schedule.
What's up?
Alright, week 1, they're home against the 49ers. Louis, who do you think is going to win this game?
I think they're going to win this game. It's going to be a very close game as the 49ers made it to the NFC Championship game last year. I think they have one of the best defenses in the league, but I like the Packers in this one. I think they have a better offense. If you look at all the receivers with Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson, who had 15 touchdowns last year and over 1,000 yards, I think he's going to have a great season this year, and I think they're going to get off to a good start and get the win.
I agree with you with the win.
I'm going to actually disagree with you here. I think the 49ers run defense is just too good that Starks won't really get anything in this game. Even though Rodgers and the Packers have an amazing passing game, I don't think it's going to be enough to beat the improved 49ers offense.
Alright, so week 2, they're home against the Chicago Bears. Dave, who do you think is going to win this one?
I think it's going to be a good game, but I'm going to give the win to the Packers. Charles Woodson should easily shut down Brandon Marshall. And if the Packers pass rush can get to Cutler, Cutler's not very happy with the Bears' offensive line, so it shouldn't be too hard for him. I'm going to give it to the Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one to the Packers as well. I think when you look at the Bears, I mean, their defense is great and they're great run stoppers, but if you look, there's no one really to stop on the Packers. I mean, other than James Starks, who didn't really even have a pressing game season last year with only over 500 yards and a touchdown. So there's no real big threat on the running game here for the Bears. But I think the Packers' passing game is just too hard to stop.
Yeah, the Packers are really hard to stop when they get into a groove. So I give the win to the Packers against the Bears.
Okay, week 3, they're away against the Seattle Seahawks. Dave, who do you think is going to win this matchup?
I'm going to give another win to the Packers here. I mean, the Packers' pass game is just too good. I think James Starks is going to have a pretty good season last year. Like as Louis mentioned last minute ago, he only had a little bit over 500 yards and a touchdown, but he was splitting time, and now he's the only running back there. So I think he's going to have a better season this year, and he's going to help the Packers win this one.
Yeah, I think they're going to win this one too. I mean, there's no real big threat for the Packers receiving wise for the Seahawks. I mean, Sidney Rice is going to be there healthy, but other than him, there's really not a lot to go around in the passing game. So as long as they can stop Marshawn Lynch, I think the Packers will be all right in this one.
Well, the Marshawn Lynch might get suspended too, so They might not have to worry about him. But I give the win to the Packers. Playing in Seattle, it's a tough time there with all the fans there. So I give the win to the Packers, even though they're in Seattle.
All right, so week 4, they're home against the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to give this one a win. It's going to be a very good game, a duel against two of the best quarterbacks in the league, in Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers. But I like the Packers here. Their offense is better, and defense. Defensively, they improved, getting another pass rusher, Nick Perry, in the first round. So I think they're going to take this game, but it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, even though the Saints have got a lot of guys suspended, they will have a tough game, even though the guys are suspended. But the Packers will get the win.
All right, Dave, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, I agree with the Packers getting the win. Brees and Rodgers are very similar quarterbacks. I believe that Rodgers is a little bit better, but also Rodgers has just a lot more weapons than Brees. Brees really only has Colston. He lost Robert Meacham. He also does have Jimmy Graham, but when you're going to compare to Rodgers, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, and James Jones. Also, he has an amazing tight end with Jermichael Finley. I think that's just going to be too much to stop for the Packers.
Okay, week 5, they're away against the Colts. PG, who do you think is going to win this game, the Packers or Colts?
Well, with the rookie quarterback and Andrew Luck, they will not know how he will fare. But I have the Packers winning again.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, and I think they're going to win this game as well. I don't really think it's going to be much of a competition. Colts don't have much on offense, running-wise. As long as they can stop Reggie Wayne, I don't think this is going to be much of a problem. The Colts aren't really going to be a big problem for the Packers at all here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's going to be an easy win for the Packers. Week 6, they're away against the Texans. Pat, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I have the Packers winning. Texas is also a really hard place to play, but Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one a loss, actually. I think the Texans are really going to give the Packers some hard times, and this is in Houston. I like what the Texans did. They got a young pass rusher in J.J. Watt. If you got Matt Shaw healthy coming back, and a healthy Andre Johnson, too, I think it's going to be a close game, but the Packers are eventually going to have to lose, and I like the Texans in this game.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I mean, the Texans' defense has went down. They lost a couple key players. I'm not going to name them because I named them a bunch of times, but I think the Packers' defense is just a better defense than the Texans, and if they can just shut down Foster, they shouldn't have too much trouble.
All right, Week 7, they're away against the St. Louis Rams. This is not a competition to me, even though it is in St. Louis. Steven Jackson really the only threat on the offensive side of the ball, and I just think that the Rams really can't fare with the Packers here.
Yeah, easy win for the Packers here.
All right.
Oh, yeah, definitely easy win for the Packers. I mean, the Rams really don't have too much stars on their team. If they can just get to Bradford, they shouldn't have any trouble.
All right, Week 8, they're home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dave, who do you think's going to win this one?
It's not really a question. I mean, the Packers are obviously going to blow them away. I just don't see the Jaguars having a good season at all, especially with MJD's holdout. That can just make them even worse.
Yeah, if Maurice Jones-Drew is holding out, that's pretty much the Jaguars' whole team, and the Packers are just on a completely different level than the Jaguars. PG, what do you think about this one?
Well, the Jaguars do have a young team with Gabbert, Jones-Drew.
Yeah.
But an easy win for the Packers again, because Maurice Jones-Drew is holding out, so you don't know how long. And one of the bigger names, like Vincent Jackson, when he held out, he got suspended for a game or two.
All right, so that's good points. Week 9, they're home against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to give this one a win. The Cardinals are having a QB battle in training camp right now with Kevin Cobb and John Skelton, and to me, neither one are even close to as good as Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to give this one a win. The Cardinals don't have a lot of pass rush except for defensive end Calais Campbell, and I just think that the Packers are going to take this one easy. Charles Woodson is going to have a hard time with Fitzgerald, but as long as the Packers do what they do, spread the ball around passing-wise, I think they'll be all right in this one.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Cardinals' receiving core with Larry Fitzgerald and Michael Floyd, but they just don't have enough to beat the Packers. The Cardinals' defense, other than Pat Peterson, they don't really have any stars on that team, and it's just going to be the Packers' offense will just be too much to handle for them.
Yeah, the Packers, if they do spread the ball around, they won't. The Cardinals will have to move Patrick Peterson around, and then that's going to open up Greg Jennings.
Yep.
So.
All right, that's a good point. Week 10, it's a bye. I have them at 8-1.
I'm going to agree with you there with 8-1.
I have them undefeated
at 9-0. So Week 11, they're away against the Detroit Lions, a division rivalry. Dave, who do you think is going to win this matchup?
Well, last year the Lions vs. Packers were two very good games, both matchups. But I'm going to give the win to the Packers here. I mean, even though they had a good battles last year, they pulled them out, and I think it's going to happen again this year.
Yeah, I'm going to give the loss to the Packers here. I think the Lions, I think it's time that they finally beat the Packers at least once this season, and I think the Packers are going to have a hard time with that huge duo of Matt Stafford to Calvin Johnson. And if you look, too, the Lions got Titus Young, a great upcoming star receiver who had 6 touchdowns, a respectable number for a rookie, and they also have a respectable veteran in Nate Burleson. I just sense an upset here. It's away in Detroit. I think the fans are going to be on their Lions side, and I'm going to give the win to the Lions.
Very good point, Lou, but the Packers, I think, will have another win.
All right, so Week 12, they're away against the New York Giants. Dave, who do you think is going to win this former playoff battle?
I'm actually going to give the win to the Giants here. I mean, there are two very good teams going at it. Eli Manning versus Rodgers. I do think Rodgers is a better quarterback, but I think that the Giants are going to pull it off. They beat him in the playoffs last year. They had a good matchup in the regular season. I think the Giants can pull them out with their very talented defensive line.
Yeah, I'm going to sorely agree with you, Dave. The Giants really had an offensive game against them in the playoffs. And I think if they do what they did in the playoff game last year, the Giants will pull it out.
I'm going to disagree with both of you here. I think the Packers are going to win this game. The Giants got the best of the Packers in cold Green Bay, but I just really think the Packers are going to take this one. The Packers did beat the Giants in the regular season, and I think here that I just think they're a better team than the Giants, and I think it's really going to come down to Rodgers versus Eli, and I like Eli in this. Aaron Rodgers in this one, so I'm going to give the win to the Packers.
Week 13 they have the Vikings at home. I have them winning always an easy game against the Vikings. Week 13 the Packers are playing the Vikings at home. Easy game for the Packers in my sight, and they will become 11-1.
All right, I'm going to agree with you, Pat, and I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to be fine in this one. As long as they can stop Adrian Peterson, I don't really think the Vikings cause much of a threat. As long as Rodgers can get away from Jared Allen and get the ball out quickly, the Packers shouldn't have a hard time in this one.
Yeah, like you said, Jared Allen should be their biggest trouble. And if they can just stop Adrian Peterson, who should be 100% healthy, they shouldn't really have too much trouble beating the Vikings.
Okay, Week 14, they're home against the Lions. I'm going to give this one a win. I think, obviously, I can't have the Lions sweeping the Packers this year, and I think the Packers are going to win this one. The Lions just don't have enough corners to cover all the weapons, and the one I haven't mentioned yet is Jermichael Finley, who after 2 years ago being out for the full season, last year he played all 16 games. He had some respectable numbers with 767 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns and 55 receptions. So I think the Lions just don't have enough to stop all the weapons, including Jermichael Finley.
I'm actually going to give the win here to the Lions. I think that 3 great games, the former matchups, and I think the Lions are going to pull it out here. I mean, I think that it'll be a really good game in Week 11. I think it's going to be another good game, but I'm going to give the Lions winning it.
Yeah, I give the win to the Packers. Yeah, really, it's going to be a very good, close game for them. I think the Packers will win versus the Lions in Week 14, but they will have a very tough opponent on their hands.
All right, Week 15, they're away against the Chicago Bears, another huge division rivalry. Dave, who do you think is going to win this one?
I'm going to give the win to the Packers here. Bears have a great defense with Julius Peppers at defensive end, and also have great linebackers with Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher. But to help out the Packers' offensive line, they got Jeff Saturday, so that should help Rodgers get the ball out quicker with no pressure on him.
I'm gonna have the Bears win this game. I think it's gonna be time that the Packers don't just start sweeping through their division. I think the Bears and Lions are really gonna give them troubles this season, and I really like what the Bears did. They finally re-signed Matt Forte to a nice contract. They got Lance Briggs to a new contract, like Dave said. Brian Urlacher, the middle linebacker, one of the best veteran middle linebackers, and I just think they're gonna win this one. It's in Chicago. It's a tough stadium to play in, and I think really the Bears are gonna pull this one out.
Yeah, Chicago is a very tough stadium to play in, and Chicago is a very tough opponent, though. But the Packers, I think, will pull out another win against the Bears.
Okay, Week 16, they're home against the Tennessee Titans. Dave, who do you think is going to win this one?
Oh, it's an easy win for the Packers here. I mean, their offense is much better, and so is their defense. With Clay Matthews on the line and B.J. Raji, they should be getting in, stopping Chris Johnson in. Should be a pretty easy win for the Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one a win. I'm definitely going to agree with you. And I bet you're going to see Jake Locker at this time starting for the Titans. So you're going to see what the young guy can do against a great defense in the Packers. But like Dave said, this isn't really going to be a close game. Like you said, as long as you can stop their elite running back and Chris Johnson, their passing game is really not that big of a threat. They got some good quality receivers with guys like Kenny Britt, Nate Washington, and also first-round pick Kendall Wright out of Baylor. But I just don't think any of those guys pose a huge threat to the Packers in this one.
I think the Packers will win a high-scoring game with the Kenny Britt back and the rookie Kendall Wright. The Titans will pass a lot, and if they just get past Charles Woodson, I think they will they'll make a very tough opponent.
All right, Week 17, the last game of the season, they're away in Minnesota against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to give this one a win. I think it's going to be a very easy game here. I just don't think, I think the Packers might be sitting their starters. It just depends on how all the division works out and if they can get the first seed in the playoffs, home field advantage. And I think they're going to win this game easily for reasons I said earlier.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. Even though Rodgers will be out and probably Greg Jennings, I still think James Jones and Donald Driver can get the job done over the Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings will probably a nice defensive game against the Packers, but yeah, Rodgers might be sitting, but the Packers might pull out another win.
All right, Pat, it was a pleasure having you on, and make sure we'll see him on the roundtable debates on our YouTube page.
All right, my closing record for the Packers, I had them at 13-3.
I have them at 13-3 as well.
And I have them 15-1, just like last year.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Schedule Rundown. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings schedule, and be sure to follow me on Twitter at Crest Sports and Louis at DB Sports Talk.
See you later.